Hey, 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 hey. Free market. You there? Are you okay? Talk to me. Oh no. Oh no. Free market, are you there?
Nearer, my God.
Oh,
If
oh no.
if you guys do not know, that is the song that the Titanic band continued to play even as water flooded over the side of the boat. And this morning, that would be the crypto industry at large. Good morning.
I had the bright idea at the last second there to make my chair go down, but it didn't do it properly. I was like, it's too fast.
Well, I
tried.
salute everyone. I send my love to you, and I guess we're gonna talk about some stuff today.
This is going to be a big therapy session. That's, I think, what we're doing here. No, we're just going to talk through it. It's all good. It's, I mean, it's not all good, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's all bad.
We're fucked.
This is we talk about black swans. I don't know how many people out there are students of Nassim Taleb, who wrote a very, very good series of books, one of which is called Black Swan. And he goes over, he was an options trader, a very famous options trader on Wall Street who came up with some popular strategies at the time. And he was able to see, great inefficiencies and asymmetries and came up with his theory of black swans, which are financial events that nobody sees coming. And it's the greatest, asymmetric bets you can make. And why he went over the reasons about why fundamentally as human beings, we almost have a hard time seeing these things coming. And
well, that's by definition what a black swan event is.
Yeah, but
it's like who could have saw that one coming?
It's what it is, but he goes into the reasons of why does human psychology predispose us to miss these things? Like what is it? What goes on? Because if you zoom out and look at markets, they are the behavior of masses, right? The psychology of large groups and how they act. And this was as big a black swan as you can have in crypto. While
is it?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think it's close.
The amount of players.
Sell me on this.
The amount of industry insiders that believed FTX was, above reproach, one of the best out there, that Sam Bankman-Fried was a stable genius. And I think that there was a lot of evidence that this was true. I believe that this is a loss of confidence within the walls of crypto that's hard to quantify. I certainly there are other events you could compare, like if Binance experienced something similar. You could certainly argue Coinbase would be bigger in the sense that it would be front page news, and it's how your average normie tends to interface with crypto. But
it would affect a lot more people.
It would. I think
Not to say that FTX isn't affecting a lot of people. It is, and if you're involved or affected by it,
it's who it's affecting.
My condolences.
Yeah, and it's who it's affecting that's more interesting to me, because as of yesterday, even, within 21 hours, 20 hours ago, you had people saying there is not a chance in hell that FTX is insolvent. The greatest minds in crypto talking about 1% chance. And of course, you always had a fringe of people who think everybody's insolvent. All of crypto is insolvent. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. We understand that. And
if FTX is insolvent, we all are insolvent.
Right. And there's always going to be those fringes that are yelling that everything is insolvent. So it's hard to listen to there. But I think the amount of people caught by surprise yesterday, and
that's fair.
Of course, we are having a year where more people are predisposed to think something like this would happen. Fortunately, I would say, the last 8 months have kind of prepared people that this was a possibility. I think if this had been the first shoe to drop, it would have been a lot more surprising and a lot worse. Because this was the second shoe, while it has
also true too.
Yeah. While it has great importance, a lot of people, I think, were like, well, bear market, blah, blah, blah. This is the type of stuff that happens. Okay. But the implications of this, I don't think anybody knows or understands yet. And we were talking about how we're not worried about price. I'm not concerned that ETH is going to fall 50% lower and all.
I'm actually surprised that it's still at 1,200. I mean, this isn't even our local low.
Exactly.
Or yearly low, rather. Although I do think Bitcoin hit yearly low.
Right now feels very similar to June in the sense that once they force liquidated all of the stuff that they can, is price really just going to stay? Like, if you told me
how much worse could it get besides Binance and Coinbase also following suit, which one doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but after FTX, who the fuck knows?
Well, this is what's really interesting. I sent you a thread that you'll see in your DMs that basically speculates FTX, not FTX. Is
this Lucas Nuzzi?
Yes.
Nuzzi? Okay.
Alameda. Okay, so if you guys,
Hold up. Let's get into that. I just want to say GM to everybody, guys. Welcome to the show. Already got a lot of people listening. Obviously, today is a big day for crypto and whatnot. And I mean, I don't think I need to do any introductions involving what's been going on with FTX, Binance, crypto. Everybody's seen the price. Everybody's seen the very, very red numbers on the 24-hour chart. And it's not pretty out there. But again, as Free Market said, I think that this is a lot bigger than what the price of Ethereum or Bitcoin or Doge or Solana is. It's what this means, what this is implications are for this going forward, our reputability in the bigger world. And I actually think that there's some saving graces that we're going to get into as well. But yesterday was midterms in the United States, and that is literally the only thing that people are talking about outside of the crypto world. And so this hasn't become like this big event that all the non-crypto believers are celebrating in the streets over, because we know they love to do that. God, Reddit would be having its all-time daily active users and most messages sent about crypto if it wasn't for midterms. So there might be actually some silver linings that this somehow is getting a little bit swept under the rug if you're not within this space. But we got a lot to talk about, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. By all means, this is good. I have tons of articles. I have memes pulled up. I have tweets pulled up. We'll probably, if there's time, touch on the OpenSea stuff going on as well at the end of it. But that's really kind of secondary to what's going on right now. But again, I just want to encourage you guys, keep chatting with us. And this is going to be a show that while we're talking about stuff, 100% we're going to be reacting to what you guys are saying, some of the thoughts, some of the theories, some of the ideas that you guys have. And that's, again, the best shows that we have are the ones that you guys are chatting really regularly with and allowing us to kind of feed off of. I try not to ask this or I actually don't really ask this ever, but if you want to go on my Twitter, Free Market, let's get some more people in here and see if we can run the numbers up a little bit, because again, that discussion is important, and the more people we have chatting about this, I think the the better it feels at the end of the day. Not an obligation though, but just a thought. So, anyways, free market. You were about to go into something there before. I just wanted to just say GM to everybody.
Yeah. So if we look at the evidence here, it seems that Alameda, which is the quantitative hedge fund run by Sam and founded by Sam and Carolyn, who were Jane Street options traders, if you guys didn't know. They founded a quantitative hedge fund called Alameda Research, which is very closely intertwined with FTX because FTX is the exchange started by Sam Bankman-Fried. So there should technically be a Chinese wall between these two entities, which basically means that if you own two companies that potentially have conflict of interest, there is supposed to be what in legal terms is called a Chinese wall between those businesses in which information is not shared. All right. This is a legal Wall Street term. And obviously, this did not exist here. Or if it did, it was quickly knocked down because it seems that back when Luna went under, it may have pulled Alameda under with it. You can look through this thread, which R2 can read in a second, but it is essentially positing that what FTX eventually did was loan customer deposits to Alameda. That was what Alameda used then to start taking care of their own obligations, but also beginning a PR campaign to make Sam Bankman-Fried look like JP Morgan in 1909, buying up all the distressed crypto assets, looking like he's the big savior and solvent and coming in to save everyone and all that stuff. All that did was pump his reputation, pump the value of FTT, the underlying token, and it seems to have been a response to the only move they could have made because...
And I find this very interesting. We were talking about this in the pre-show. Like, it maybe was one of those. He knew he was screwed too, and it was like, what is the only productive thing we can do right now?
Yeah, that's what's incredible. So it seems that the only other option here would have been that he just folds right when Luna falls. So he basically says, yeah, Alameda was caught in it. We are insolvent also. We're done too. And that would have just added into the 3AC. Believe me, it would have made June a lot worse. We would have seen lower prices on all the coins. It would have been greater capitulation, all that type of stuff. He seems to have thrown a Hail Mary pass and tried to bluff his way out of it, which, hell, if it had worked, we probably would have been calling him a genius. You know, I will contend, and Gainsey tweeted something out to this sentiment yesterday. R2 could bring the tweet up, but he essentially said that every person who is a billionaire or a financial star that we look up to when we put on a pedestal was likely in Sam's position at one point. Okay.
Yeah, let me just read it so that, because a lot of people just listen to this too, right? I can't believe SBF, 3AC, Luna took those risks, in quotes. And he's kind of, I guess, mimicking or mocking a simpleton with $3.56 in the savings account. Aggressive returns come through aggressive risks, and an unquantifiable amount of luck plays into it. Willing to bet anything that at some point every industry titan was insolvent. And I think that is a great point. I mean,
it's an exaggeration, but most, I would say.
I don't even think so. Yeah, okay, you're right. Every might be like you can't really deal in absolutes when you're talking about that stuff. I'm sure there are some people. What's that?
But legitimately, I would say most industry titans have likely faced something very similar. They just got lucky that there wasn't a run on their asset. I mean, if we really want to break down and analyze what went wrong here, it could be that Sam flew too close to the sun and tried to take down Binance at the same time. Why'd he go snitching on Binance to the U.S. government? That seems to be what caused all of this. If his ass just didn't try to throw CZ under the bus, CZ may not have been motivated to break him.
It's true. It's true. Um, I mean, what a look for CZ right now, though, right? Like this feels like something out of a movie or a television show. This like toiling behind the scenes of like executing the perfect game plan to just absolutely demolish your competitor, and I mean just leave an absolute trail of destruction in the wake, right? Like I watched Billions. I love that show, and
Yeah.
it felt like something from an episode of that or a whole season arc, right?
This
Of
is going
just
to
this
be a
like
movie. I would
yeah.
the
Like
fucking
he
movie. No,
CZ just put on a masterclass of a takeover, right? Like
this
he
is
knew what was going
hardcore.
on. He played it perfectly. And obviously there's some devastation in the wake of all of this, but don't
CZ
mess
is
with
the king of
CZ.
crypto. The only way CZ could be dethroned now is if Justin Sun fucks his wife.
I don't know. Maybe they're into that kind of thing. Who knows?
So, all right, this.
What DC tweet are we talking about here? Are we talking about Sam
Yeah.
Bankman-Fried?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sam's lawyers basically made him delete everything that he's been tweeting the last few days, and I know
Probably for
people are
the
like,
smart.
yeah, I know people are like, oh, look at Sam going into. Believe me, this is his lawyers going, do this or you're going to jail 100%. At least if you delete these, it's 99.9%, and you have a chance.
Yeah. I was gonna say once they're out there, I mean the archiving machines and all of that store it. Countless
The
amounts of
Library of
screens.
Congress. The Library of Congress saves every tweet.
Yeah.
We know it. They have an archive of every tweet ever made. So it's not that. It's that, what you're going to be able to say as a lawyer is while he was in the war room under the greatest pressure of his life in the heat of the moment, he may have tweeted some things that he didn't mean, but he has deleted them, and this is how we really feel now. Again, it's an excuse. It doesn't guarantee anything, but you got to do whatever you can at this point to do damage. This is DEFCON 5 for Sam, right? This is like, there was a Bloomberg report yesterday that Sam Bankman-Fried lost 94% of his wealth overnight, which if you do the math is from 16 billion down to about 991 million. And you'll get the regular, oh, I'm so sad for you. You're only a billionaire now and all that type of stuff. But this is a crisis.
I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
This is a crisis moment for whether he deserves it or not. I'm not just excusing his behavior. I'm saying as a human being, he is in crisis right now, and you can expect him to do anything he can to avoid prison time and blacklisting from the industry. I mean, unfortunately, like this is what happens in traditional finance. If you get accused of doing something like this and you're found guilty, they ban you from being able to trade. They ban you from being able to open businesses like this. So I always used to say too, as a poker player, right? Like, do anything to me, but do not ban me from there were people like who were, wanted to come up with algos to beat the poker tables on full everyone wanted to be. It was like, I would not risk for a second being blackballed from doing the thing I love for anything. I'd rather be broke and build my way back up from nothing than cheat and be told I couldn't trade anymore or I couldn't play poker.
So some discussion going on in the chat for sure. Wiper saying, this is the beginning of a season when millionaires are made. 100%, man. Like it's funny because I was having a discussion with one of my friends that's I talk to a lot more about what I do, although she doesn't like invest in crypto or own any of it or anything. She's got she definitely is good at investing and stuff like that. And I always say, like, if you ever want to go down that rabbit hole, just let me know and I'll help you. Again, I don't force it on anybody, right? This is a wild ride. And, for some people, a 5 or 10% swing can feel pretty dirty. When you look at, in a 2-hour time frame going down 20-25% like we did yesterday, I mean, that's a roller coaster not everybody wants to get on. But so I was talking to her yesterday about it, and like just like how nasty it got, how gnarly it was getting, right? And I just said, I just want you to know that when you start to see me cry uncontrollably and you're literally talking me off of the ledge of my apartment building, make sure you're buying at that point too, right? Like there are going to be some good entry points throughout this. This now, we've said this a bunch of times. I kept saying like it feels different than 2018. It feels different than 2017. There's just something different. Yeah, it feels like 2018 now. It feels like we're going through something that might kick off like a legitimate multi-year
Right.
bear
This is
market where it just goes down and down and down. And ETH might not drop. ETH might not go below 800. It might it might it might trade. That might be the bottom, and it might be the bottom for a long time. Great time to dollar cost average your way up to a nice little stack again. But some of those altcoins, some of those shit coins that you trade and whatnot, like I mean, they are going down to almost absolute zero with no volume. Um, and then this is kind of the winter. This is kind of the point where you're going to see which are the real ones and which ones aren't. Right. This is going to shake out a lot of people, which is what happens in these bear markets. This is going to test a lot of resolve. It's going to test a lot of patience. And even in throughout 2018, I was still very active in learning about crypto, paying attention to it, paying attention to my wallet, my portfolio, even though it was down. 2019, still listening to podcasts, still doing all that stuff. I got 3/4 of the way through 2019, and I just realized my consumption of it was just almost at an all-time low. And then through the early parts of 2020, like I just didn't pay attention to all of it. That I think likely won't be the case for me this time, but you're going to be looking for a lot of people. Those Telegram groups, your friends on WhatsApp, they're not even going to make fun of you for believing in crypto anymore. They're just going to forget that you ever even had it. It's just going to be gone. I'm not saying I'm kind of saying it very matter of factly. That's not necessarily the case, but I mean, these are the kinds of multi-year bear markets that are really, 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 really test the people and how much confidence they have in it. Because no matter how much faith you have in the technology and the future of it, whether humanity needs it or not, most people at some point yesterday or over the course of the next 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, I don't know, will start to go, maybe this is really dead this time. And I can tell you one thing. That's happened 4 times now, and it's always got off the mat. But it does require that sentiment reset, I think, before we can really take that next leg up. And these are the kind of events that really spring that. So that's not to be the pessimist. I think there's still lots of exciting things that can be talked about. There's still lots of opportunities, to say like, what are the steps to this? Dollar cost averaging your way all the way up, all the way back down, sticking to the plan. It's already been a rough year for sure, 100%. But take a look at all of the people who did really well in this bull market or the last bull market that we had. Most of them did not just show up on day one of the bull market, make a huge social media following, make a huge bag, and now are going to leave. A lot of these people, you look at Kobe yesterday. Kobe had a live stream. All of a sudden, he's got a couple people on. He clicks a button, and there's 13,000 people watching it live of them just sitting there drinking, going, "Wow, this is pretty crazy, eh?" He was tweeting the entire time throughout 2017, 2018, 2019, building that following, building that a group of people that will hang on every word that he is. He's also incredibly talented. DC Investor is somebody that I knew, not personally, but was posting on Reddit way back in the day, ETH Trader and whatnot. Like he was a very, very active community member. He never really stopped. He never really slowed down. They put themselves in this incredible position that when the bull market comes back, you are going to be top of the funnel. You are the first person or a first group of people that all of the new participants comes in to see, right? And that's if you want to build a social following, if you want to build it. You can do that in a ton of different ways, including just buying dollar cost averaging a portfolio of, 2 to 10 coins that you think has long-term potential. And when I say long term, I mean like 3 to 5 years. That's long in this industry. There's tons of opportunity to do that. You gotta keep your resolve strong, such that you can stay interested enough in it to find the new things that are going on. There was a DeFi summer that was like just quietly going under the radar, but people were making tons and tons and tons of money on it. And crypto wasn't even really like mainstream hot bull market at the time either, right? So I don't know. I mean, do you have anything you want to add on to that, free market?
The issue here, right? What did people use FTX for? That would be for perps, okay? I don't know if you guys understand what perps means. It means perpetual futures contract, which is, futures contracts expire, all right? That's what makes them a contract on the future. A perpetual future doesn't expire. It's just it is a video game, essentially. It's like a facsimile of whatever you're trading, but you're not actually trading the underlying. You're trading the exchange's book, okay? And it's up to the exchange to be honest and say that everything is balanced. Like, yes, when you bought this much Doge, we allocated that much Doge to your account and we removed it from this ledger. But that's what you're trusting these exchanges are going to do. Perpetual futures can carry leverage. That is what a lot of people use them to do. 5x, 10x, 25x, 50x, 125x on some sites if you want. That is a lot of the volatility you see on a daily basis. Why does crypto go up and down a lot more than traditional assets all the time? Well, they're being pushed around by unregulated massive amounts of leverage that just don't exist in traditional markets in that way anymore. That is what is at risk here. The loss of volatility, the loss of juice, the loss of market makers, the loss of action. Okay, think about Aptos, a coin you cannot buy right now. There's no Aptos available. But guess what? You can gamble on the perps. You can gamble on the perpetual futures. All right. These were, when they work, one of the greatest liquidity instruments in all of finance. Okay. If the exchanges offering them are being honest and keeping their ledgers balanced and making sure that customer deposits are not being used unethically or illegally, well, those are, again, some of the most important financial instruments because they provide liquidity, lubrication, traders, volatility, volume. That's what allows us to make a living, right? That movement is what allows us to make a living. I don't give a fuck about the price of Ethereum. Truthfully, gut tells me ETH is like fairly priced here, given what's going on. Could it fall $400? Could it go up $400? Sure, it's fairly priced around here. Like, this is just the price of ETH. Like, I don't think it's overvalued. I don't think it's undervalued. And the thing is, though, the fact that it moves a lot is our opportunity. It's what we kind of do here all the time. That is what I believe is at risk of going away, because all those people, let's say over the next 2 weeks, CZ makes them whole and they get all their money. And now all of a sudden they're Binance customers, even though technically they still use the FTX site. What does that look like, right? What do people want to continue betting on crypto? I very much fear that what this is going to do is cause one last flush down, which could happen at any moment. One last pop up, which could happen at any moment. It could happen. Is it happening right now? I mean, Doge is mooning. I don't know. So that is, all that stuff can happen, but we just don't know the appetite of players to come back to the casino after one of their favorite casinos was found stealing their money. Casinos, like, people always accuse them of like, oh, they're cheating, like a casino is shit. It behooves PokerStars or Caesars or whoever is your casino to have the fairest, most ethical games there are, because that's what keeps people coming back, knowing that it's fair. All right. This is a loss of confidence. And as R2 said earlier in the show, this isn't the public facing crisis that it could be if something like Coinbase went out. This is an internal confidence crisis for the people who are providing us our daily liquidity, and we have to see how this pans out. Now, I still think Elon Musk is a wild card because we talk about mainstream facing crypto news. Okay, this shit ain't penetrating the mainstream. If Elon adds Doge to Twitter tomorrow, that's every news organization in the world. I don't even think they mention Alameda, right? While they do that, yet all of a sudden crypto gets this huge PR boost. Well, you know, this is why I think, I want to talk about Doge right now, because if you look at Doge, it's at 9 cents, 9.2 cents right now. That's up 85% from where it was 2 weeks ago. Given what just happened in crypto, I mean, everything is killed right now. Everything is down, yet Doge is up 80%. So you would think it would have gone right back to 5 cents. That's where it was chilling for so long. Why is it up? I think it's up because people know at any moment Elon could be like, crypto, you've been in the hands of some unscrupulous people. You have been left to the decentralized and unregulated Wild West. Allow me to bring you into popular culture. Twitter wallets for everybody. Shit, you don't think crypto would rally off of that? With the dollar getting killed. Now, I know the market is down today. I'm looking at the stock market. The dollar is retracing a bit, but it ain't back at its highs, and bonds ain't back at their lows. This is a natural reaction because they both come way off their peaks and their bottom, right? So if the dollar trend continued and if the bond trend continued, that's a macro tailwind for crypto. You get this insignificant exchange out of the way, you get all their customers paid, and then Elon makes an announcement. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm very conflicted. This was an absolute black swan event because the people I trust, okay, the people who I look up to are shook today. That has me shook today. Okay, that's what's weird. If you had asked me, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You had asked me 24 hours ago, what are the chances of FTX being insolvent? I said 1%. I was wrong as shit. I 100% thought FTX was going to be fine. And why? Because the people who I look up to, the people who I trust, who aren't scam artists and criminals, these aren't the guys shilling you coin. These are, again, the people who, through my experience, I trust, did not think that this was going to happen. Neither did I. I was very wrong. And this is just...
I think the interesting thing about black swan events is even if it's a 1% chance or less, you can't see black swan events until they happen. That's literally why they're black. There will be maybe a couple people in the world that start doing it, like the Michael Burrys of the world with the housing crisis, and everyone's like, yeah, whatever, like not going to happen. They'll place it at a much higher than 1% chance. But even if it just is realistically a 1% chance, there's probably 50 to 100 potential black swan events at any given time that have like a 1% chance of happening. And it's just that one of them eventually will trigger, right? Like that's why black swan events do happen. And, we see them on a somewhat regular basis. And when I say regular basis, I mean, every decade, right?
Yeah.
So
it was funny to me because people have been asking Nassim for a few years now, hey, was COVID a black swan? He's actually said no, because pandemic was something so talked about by so long for fringe experts that it was, he actually didn't consider it a black swan in a traditional sense. He thinks true black swans are even more improbable than the pandemic.
And I think that, the housing crisis was a true black swan event because there was a very real sentiment at the time. There still kind of is, honestly. But like at the time, it was just real estate go up. There is no better and safer investment. There's a 0% chance that real estate goes down. There's only so much of it. There's more people. Real estate is where it's at. You can put as much money in. You feel as safe as you possibly can, right? And that wrecked everybody, Yeah. I mean, it interesting listening to you, and I think kind of talked about this on another show, listening to the All In podcast, and Chamath had this interesting theory about, like, he literally said it. He's like, I'm not obviously not hoping it happens, and it would be terrible. The human side of it would be devastating and whatnot. But he was talking about the idea of, Russia or someone potentially using a tactical nuke, right? And a tactical nuke is a little bit different than a large nuclear bomb that just completely wipes a city off the face of the earth. But he's saying if it's used, like if one of those is used, it might not even cause a serious move in the market, because everybody is so hyper aware that this is a real possibility, that there's a very, very, very real chance that this is already baked into the market in some way, shape, or form, right? And so, if it's not a true black swan event, then yeah, it probably is baked into the market in some way. Now, it might cause some short-term volatility of people repositioning and, some panic, but yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to talk about nonetheless.
Now, Wesley, this year should have taught everybody something about risk assets in general.
Yes.
The term risk on and risk off in traditional markets.
Hedge against inflation and hedge against the stock market, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about that, you are referring to the fact that any asset associated with risk gets sold off. Like, if there were a black swan event in the stock market, crypto would get killed, just because risk off is risk off. That cash is king, right? Everyone goes to cash. So it would certainly be bad. Now, I think it's very difficult to get a black swan when everyone's looking for one, right? That's what we are in, that period right now. Black swans sneak up on you. So most of the bad things that could happen in the stock market that everyone is looking at, that would have been called black swans last year or the year before because people weren't looking at them, aren't black swans now. I guess the easiest way to put it is markets don't crash when everybody is looking at them too. That's why I actually think the market's going to go up a lot over the traditional market. This was before crypto decided to have its own personal implosion here. The traditional market, I think, is going to go up a lot over the next 4 months, if not just for the mere fact that it has to trick everyone to get that crash everyone's been waiting for, right? This pullback people saw coming from too far away. This has been a slow motion car crash this year. There have been 3 major rallies. One brought us almost back to even. It has not been a straight line down. There have been mixed data and confusing metrics where it's like, how can this look so good? If this looks so bad, how can this look so bad? If this looks so good, it has not been a year where the crash catches you off guard and it happens all at once and you're just left holding your dick. Like, I don't even know what just happened. For that to happen, and it very may well next year, we need to kind of lull everyone back into a false sense of security. So we have had
which is kind of where we were for the past few months since the Luna and 3AC thing kind of blew over, right?
Well said. Yeah. That's like crypto. Yep.
He ain't done yet. Yeah.
Exactly. And it felt like crypto already had its capitulation back in June, and now people don't know. Now people are wondering if this is going to be worse than that capitulation back in June. Stocks are in a very different place. They have been driven by bonds, dollar, and inflation. Now, those things seem to have peaked. They are, today as I say this, going in the opposite direction. But mind you, for a couple weeks now, they have been going the way we want. Okay. So we are going to find out now whether this little pullback in the dollar was just a pullback before it goes and makes new highs and continues to wreck everything and inflation is still rampant, or whether we've actually peaked. If we've peaked, we're going to start getting good numbers that give us the cover for a market rally. But just as the bad inflation numbers we've been getting all year won't start reflecting until next summer, the good data we're starting to get now isn't going to start reflecting till next winter. Okay, so this lag in economic data happening is kind of what shakes and bakes everyone, because now you have cover for the next 4 to 6 months to go up, as inflation numbers improve, bonds go up, the dollar goes down, all the things you want to see for a risk-on environment. But underneath, you have the effects, the actual real-world effects of high interest rates starting to creep in, starting to affect labor, starting to affect investment, starting to affect how people think. So my thought is by next, say, May, people may have been lulled into like, wow, we may have beat everything. Like finally we put everything behind us, numbers look good, then wham. Then you get your unexpected, happens much quicker, all at once type of move. And that's what I'm kind of bracing for next year. I would argue it would be more bullish for us to make new lows right now. It'd be great to have our capitulation. Again, crypto's in its own world, but in traditional markets where we talk about risk on and risk off, it would probably be healthier if the market would just bottom now, just capitulate now. We need that spike in the VIX over 45. We need retail to say, oh, I'm selling stocks, it's over, capitulation. Probably be healthier for that. We'd be at new all-time highs sooner. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we have a massive bull trap gearing up here. So we will
all-time high on Bitcoin was a year ago today.
Oh, nice. I mentioned it's almost the 1-year anniversary of you convincing your family to buy $4,300 ETH.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, Thanksgiving weekend. That's right, American Thanksgiving weekend. I mean, like this idea of like crypto is a hedge against inflation in the stock market and whatnot, not really as you said, risk assets, they go hand in hand with each other, whether or not they're on the stock market or whether or not they're a cryptocurrency, right? In a risk off environment, both are going to get absolutely crushed. In a risk on environment, they're going to be the recipient of outsized gains. But what happens is when inflation starts going up, interest rates start going up, and price of crypto starts going down, it's easy for the narrative to switch to, oh, I thought it was a hedge against inflation. Like, well, it looks like you guys were wrong. Or anybody that bought into that theory was like, this was supposed to be my hedge against inflation. Why is it not going up now? Well, it never was supposed to go up when everything else is going down. The market sentiment and the human psychology is just like, it's time to exit all of these very risky assets and protect my bag because the whole world feels like it's going to shit. But it's all a matter of perspective, because if you're buying Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and you bought it at any point except for this peak here in late 2017, 2018, and that's only very recently that this isn't relevant. But if you bought at any point, basically in the last 5 years before it really started going on that rip in November of 2020, it has by far outpaced inflation. If you bought it at 3K, 5K, 7K, 8K, 10K, you've crushed inflation. It just doesn't happen in real time, right?
Well,
not works.
And I wrote a piece, I forget, a few weeks ago about my belief that lag is over. And I think had Sam Bankman not decided to fuck my week up yesterday, one side effect of the dollar finally plummeting was gold. Gold was up massive yesterday. Gold was at $1,630 last week. It's at $1,720 now. And gold miners were one of my big play. I'm very bullish on precious metals here, mainly because your average person, as we've talked about, thinks, okay, inflation is here. I must buy gold and Bitcoin in order to have a hedge against this inflation. Those first level trades, that first level thinking always gets killed, right? The people who are early to a concept got destroyed. You bought Bitcoin at 60K, you bought gold at 1,800, you're down a lot this year, all right? Now, I think that those people have been washed out. You're going to start to see the opposite. You're going to see gold and Bitcoin start to outperform as they become the inflation hedges that they truly are. And I will bet you money BlackRock is buying Bitcoin and they're buying distressed Bitcoin from all these. I mean,
Yeah.
do you
100%.
realize a story buried in all the madness yesterday was the US government seizing an insane amount of Bitcoin from a hacker who hacked Silk Road and stole 50,000 Bitcoin from Silk Road. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They market dumped that shit right into the crypto exchanges. That barely moved price. I was
The
like,
U.S.
wow.
government market dumped it? Why didn't they just hold it?
U.S. government market
Why don't
dumped
they
it.
just hold it?
Barely moved price. I was like, huh. I was like, how'd that happen? They moved it all the extra. They did, and BlackRock bought it. That's just my speculation.
Yeah, again, I mean, this doesn't change anything about crypto. What it does is going to shift the narrative of like, who can you trust? Who should you trust? Mike Track saying, the silver lining, I pulled this up already, but I'm going to read it. The silver lining is that crypto will return to being a peer-to-peer environment again, which is healthy. Say what you will, but markets are about to get a lot more trader friendly and volatile without Alameda arb cucking everyone into TWAPs. What is TWAP or TWAP or how do you say that?
You say TWAP, and
TWAP?
it's what's it stand for again? Something average price. It's a way that you execute an order.
Yeah,
and it's extremely like you should never do it as a retail trader. And it's supposedly for traders who trade big size and blah 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 blah, but it is quite hated by most traders. And
time weighted average price, yeah.
Exactly. And yes, I agree with everything Mike said. I think that this is long term fabulous for crypto. I mean, if you listen to R2 and I, and this is even more true. This has never been more true as of November 9th, 2022. But regulation is coming, and now it is coming fast. You can bet regulation is going to come barreling down the pipeline. And while for years, anytime a hint of regulation was mentioned, we crashed, okay? I think it'll be the opposite, and R2 does too. We need regulation at this point for these exact reasons, but I totally agree with you, Mike. I think
favorable regulation that basically just stabilizes some of these situations. I'm not saying that like I want them to have their hands in every single thing that happens, but I mean, here's the thing. Most of the people in this industry right now, especially with how depressed the bear market has been and how many people it's already shaken out, most of them are probably a little bit more on the savvy side, right? Savvy traders, knowledgeable about crypto, how to hold it, how to handle it. I'm not a not your keys, not your crypto maximalist, but I do believe it's very important. Right, I'm fully comfortable with having some portion of it on a Coinbase or something. Again, they have insurance and they're a publicly traded company, and you would hope that they're doing everything on the up and up. FTX, not so much, I guess. A comfortable amount that, like, if it were to just disappear, I would be like, that really sucks, but it didn't ruin me. This is going to teach a lot of people that, if you're not doing anything with your crypto, i.e. actively trading it on an exchange, it probably just shouldn't be sitting there. And that is going to be important and healthy, an unimportant and healthy learning experience for a lot of people that haven't gone through something like this, right? You do have to know how to manage your own key. You do have to know how to keep it safe, keep it secure so that people can't, find it on your phone because you took a picture of it or something like that. Like, there will be a learning curve involved in this because most people, if not all of them, that are going to be affected by FTX right now, if they're not just going to get some of their crypto back and sell it for cash and say, I'm done with this, if they're going to stick around, believe me, they are not going to repeat the same mistakes. I'm going to air quote because it's not really their fault, but they're not going to repeat the same mistakes that led them to being in this predicament in the first place, right?
Yep.
And if you repeat that mistake a second time, then it's on you, really. But this is going to be a pivotal moment in education for a lot of people, and in managing your own crypto.
I am not I am a free market capitalist. I know it's cheeky because it's my name, but it truly is something I believe in, not because of the traditional political reasons that I know people argue over. I believe capitalism mimics nature. That's why I think it's the most successful. You can argue it, whatever. That's just my belief that it mimics nature, and I am a big proponent of it. I want deregulation as much as humanly possible within what we call markets. The reason I am so pro regulation for crypto is because I think the base protocols themselves are unregulatable. I am not worried the governments can do anything to Bitcoin or Ethereum. They can regulate the on ramps, they can force things with your specific internet and your specific municipality. A million things can be done. You cannot regulate the protocol itself. They are, by their nature, decentralized. And I won't get into the Ethereum, those are, let us just take that at face and pretend that it's true for what they say. I don't think the government could regulate these things the way they would like to, right? So I'm not scared of regulation anymore. And I know that the only way for us to usher in the next phase is with regulation, because here is what died yesterday. And I held out hope that we would have one more Ponzi cycle. I know people say that tongue in cheek. I know it's a funny phrase and whatever, but I think we definitely still could have had another Ponzi cycle had this not happened. I think we had actually already begun. It was a pretty vigorous alt season that we had going on before all of this. I even said Sunday night, I was like, this is either where they're going to violently rug us or we're going to break out of range, because you could not have, this is it. Like, this is a perfect setup. Everything looks great. And again, even the dollar was waiting for us. It was like, this is your time. You were going to, break it. Everything was set up. I'm like, we're either going to get violently rugged or this is it. And we got violently rugged. So, Charlie Brown with the football, here we are. Regulation doesn't scare me. And yesterday, I buried my hopes of seeing another Ponzi cycle in our lifetime. And I think in order for us to get whatever the next cycle is, we're going to need some sort of regulation.
Yeah, I mean, you always say this, and I think it's important for some context. Right now, the entire crypto market is just over $900 billion, which, by the way, is the all-time high of 2017, 2018's run. I mean, this is what we're talking about as a low right now. So some serious growth there, but I don't think I need to preach that to anybody listening. You often refer to crypto as like 1/3 the size of Apple, right? To put it in perspective, one company is still 3x the entire crypto market. So there's still tons of gains to be made, tons and tons and tons. It just might not be the unregulated casino, unregulated casino that you often refer to it as, right?
Right. It's not going to be Binance coins and DeFi summer.
You sent me this in the DMs. You want me to read it? About CZ?
Yeah.
Sending the note.
Boy, he looks more and more like a Chad every day. Don't believe it, because I ain't ever fallen for that again. But here we go. Read it out. It's a good letter.
Yeah, I haven't read this at all. I just pulled it up on the screen here. Let me make it bigger for y'all, and then I'll start reading it. So this is this happened while we were on show. CZ tweeted out, "In the spirit of transparency, might as well share the actual note sent to all Binance team globally a few hours ago." Binanceans. Need a rebranding on that one. Given the events that transpired over the last couple of days, I want to reiterate a few points. One, we did not master plan this or anything related to it. Okay. It was less than 24 hours ago that SBF called me. And before that, I had very little knowledge of the internal state of things at FTX. I could do some mental calculations with our revenues to guess theirs, but it would never be very accurate. I was surprised when he wanted to talk. My first reaction was he wants to do an OTC deal, but here we are. Two, As the due diligence for the deal is ongoing, I want to remind everyone, do not trade FTT tokens. If you have a bag, you have a bag. Do not buy or sell. As soon as I finished the call with SBF yesterday, I asked our team to stop selling as an organization. Yes, we have a bag, but that's okay. More importantly, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard than even in banks. 3. Obviously, do not comment on the deal publicly or internally. If you are not directly involved, don't ask. We have a good team handling it. Things will play out. 4. FTX going down is not good for anyone in the industry. Do not view it as a win for us. User confidence is severely shaken. Regulators will scrutinize exchanges even more. Licenses around the globe will be harder to get, and people now think we are the biggest and will attack us more. But that's okay. We are used to being open and leaning into the headwinds. In fact, we embrace scrutiny. We must significantly increase our transparency, proof of reserves, insurance funds, etc. A lot more to come in this area. We have a lot of tough work ahead of us, not to mention prices swinging wildly. 5. Speaking of prices, as I've said many times over the years, ignore the prices. Let's keep our heads down and focus on building products people use. It has always worked over the years, and today is obviously no exception. Lastly, I want to say I'm really proud of each and every one of you for all your hard work as a team. Thank you. We still have many challenges ahead of us. Let's continue to push ahead and help increase the freedom of money all around the world steadily and consistency. Great note. Seems like a good, confident leader who knows the right things to say. I do not believe that this wasn't some kind of master plan. I think it's the right thing to say. I could be wrong about that. I mean, I have no internal information. Everything kind of lined up for this to be, as I said earlier, a movie-like takeover. But
well, I don't know exactly how CZ found out that Sam lobbied behind us. I guess it was just that when the bill, I think it's the same DeFi bill everyone was criticizing. When that bill came out, I guess there were things in it that were negative for Binance. And of course, Sam taunted CZ saying, hey, if you really want to know what's going on, why don't you just come down to DC and find out? Oh, wait, I don't know if you're allowed to go to DC because I think there is a warrant out for CZ's arrest in America or something like this. I don't know the exact.
Yeah, CZ is, I mean, as good as he's looking right now, has often been criticized of, a bunch of things.
And here's what we'll say, right?
And case in point is how often he seems to move around and nobody really knows where he is.
If what we read you this morning from Lucas was true, and FTX was insolvent and they committed a Hail Mary play acquiring Celsius and Voyager to make themselves, to basically bluff value into their organization.
Yeah.
How do we know CZ isn't doing that right now? We just like that. I'm not saying he is. It's just how do we know anything anymore? This could literally be the exact same play. It was just Sam goes down first.
You're right. I don't want to make the same mistake of thinking that FTX was infallible towards this anyways, right? Because that was a big mistake that all of us did. I think we all sat there and go, well, okay, yeah, Celsius, all of these things, yeah, they can go down. But like FTX, no. Binance, no. Coinbase, definitely not. And that is a mistake, right? Even if it's a small chance. You can't deal with black and white scenarios like that.
Yep.
It's hard not to admit that there is a potential that Binance is doing the same thing that FTX was doing, but trying to do it in a bigger way of saying, like, look at us, we're still good, don't worry about us. Now, and in the behind the scenes, I mean, they're holding on for dear life, being like, this is our Hail Mary. And then does it compound on top of it? I will say this, Binance has been through these cycles before. They should have made a lot of money in that time with trading fees, with their crypto bags going up. Often rumored that CZ is maybe the richest person in the world.
Yes. I mean, he was worth easily 10 times no, I shouldn't say easily. It is speculated he was worth 10 times what Sam was. And if Sam was 16 bill,
Yeah.
you know, $160 billion. Again,
At the height of the crypto market, there was a real possibility that you don't really get, because he probably doesn't even close to disclose what he's holding. But you don't get these crypto people on the lists. I remember the last time that the XRP founder was the richest man on earth for like 3 days when XRP pumped back in 2018. And they quickly just kind of hit the delete button on that because okay, is he actually? No, not really. But I mean, at the height of the bull market of last year, I mean, there's a real possibility that CZ was the richest man on earth.
And look, if you want the conspiracy theory here, the largest investor in FTX was BlackRock. If you guys don't know who BlackRock is, the largest asset manager on planet Earth. They manage 16 times more assets than the entire value of the crypto market. The entire value. They have $16 trillion under management, BlackRock. Largest investor in FTX. Guess who is rumored to have made the deal with Binance? That's BlackRock. BlackRock's behind the scenes orchestrating all this. Invest in FTX. Let them go down. Get it over to Binance. Now your paws are in Binance. What if it's the same thing over there? Let them go down. Then guess who gets to buy up all the distressed assets of all these crypto companies? BlackRock. Now, who is the largest crypto financial machine in the world? BlackRock. Okay, this is TradFi slowly playing the long game. In 6 years, if Goldman Sachs owns Coinbase and BlackRock owns Binance, there won't be a person listening to this show who is surprised. Okay, no. If a centralized exchange goes down, CEX. Sorry, if a centralized exchange goes down, it's not the end of crypto. Just as we were talking about with you can't regulate crypto, and nothing you build on top of it is enough to make it go away. But we're talking about the action, the pumps, the cycles, the casino we're in. Whether that could go away for a very, very long time, we don't know right now. We would love to see some great PR. But look, CZ comes out, we painted a good scenario for you, right? CZ comes out, makes everybody whole. They liquidate all of Sam's stuff. We don't take out the June lows. And then Elon announces Twitter crypto integration. That's a good scenario for you. That's one where there's probably a very bullish reaction off of that, especially if you have macro tailwinds of a dollar continuing to cooperate and bonds continuing to cooperate. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there are scenarios where this doesn't end everything. I agree.
If something was going to kill crypto, it would have been Mt. Gox.
True.
Which, in terms of market share and pure impact on the entire market at the time, was way bigger than this.
Right.
Maybe in dollar value, it wasn't the size of this right now, but in terms of the overall market impact that it had and should have had, way bigger than this. And, I think honestly, the death of Silk Road was kind of a big one for it too. Now, obviously, tons of other things popped up and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, for a while there, Silk Road was really the only use case for crypto and Bitcoin, right? And it survived that.
Yep.
All of those things should have been the death of, or if crypto was really that at risk of dying completely, like literally going to zero and nobody gives a shit about it anymore, like those things would have done it. FTX can go down, Binance can go down, Coinbase can go down. They will hurt really bad, really, really bad. It will put us into a tailspin. Prices would be absolutely atrocious. The volume, the volatility would be gone. People would exit. It would be very quiet in here, but I don't think it would be the death of crypto.
Traditional finance is sitting back in their armchairs and just waiting to buy these distressed assets. I'm telling you, it's
what would be the death of crypto?
What'd you say?
What would be the death of crypto?
What's that?
1 million Bitcoin moved from Satoshi's wallet onto Binance Exchange.
Yeah, that would do it. That would be
Do you want that would be my number one Black Swan event, is that wallet not only becomes active, but becomes active to send it to an exchange.
Yep. Oh boy.
Pack it in then. Oh man. Yeah. Wow. I think you're responding to what I said.
Bonds have gone green, which is good. The dollar is still up today, but bonds have gone green. Stock market's been struggling. It was a tough earnings day. Yeah, it's hard to look because of crypto. Your eyes were glued to that. But Disney reported very disappointing earnings. I am very long Disney. It's a tough day for FMC today. Disney is down 11% after reporting tough earnings yesterday. And there are a few other companies that also reported disappointing results. So you have traditional finance down. ETH is now back under 1,200 at $1,180 right now. So it's a risk-off type of day. We didn't get the red wave last night, which was interesting because that felt like a shoo-in. Most major news outlets here in the United States had predicted Republicans would win control of the House. I'm not sure if the final results are in yet, but it does seem that they held off an absolute massacre. And that was not something that many were expecting. I am not surprised markets are down a little bit off of that because, general perception is donkey bad, elephant good. Whether that's true or not, it's how markets tend to perceive elections, right? Republicans are going to be easy on markets and finance, and Democrats are going to be hard and want to raise taxes and blah, blah, blah. So not surprised there's a bit of a negative reaction today. This makes tomorrow all the more important as we get CPI readings at 8:30 a.m. And holy shit, if we aren't going into that with some scary baggage, normally
Yeah.
I'd say it's better to be down into that type of number. But where are we down from? The market has rallied a lot. We were at 3,500 at the lows. I got very aggressive there. The market rallied quite a bit off those lows, up to 3,900 and change, okay? We've pulled back a little off that top, but we are very off the lows of the year. And if we get a very, very bad CPI number tomorrow, there is no telling what it could do. And the big, I would say, signal that the market has given over the last month is that it has been rallying on bad news. We already got a hot CPI report. We got the most hawkish Fed of all time. We've had a mixed earnings season that is leaning towards red, yet stocks are up, dollar up, bonds, stocks are up. It's made no sense. Well, there's two things going on here. Either it was a very tricky relief bounce to fool a bunch of people, or we've run out of sellers and good numbers are right around the corner. We're going to start finding that out tomorrow. And the biggest signal is going to be whether, if it's a hot number, can markets still rally? I mean, if that happens, it's bears it down, right? But if it does not, if we get a hot number and we tank, it could cause a snowball here because now you have risk off in crypto, and you got the Democrats again winning control here of the government. Could be a bit of a downward spiral here. So it is going to be a very interesting number tomorrow.
Well, I'm seeing, I just saw a pop up on Twitter, CoinDesk reporting that Binance is strongly leading towards scrapping FTX rescue takeover after first glance at books.
Yep, that's what just sent crypto to new lows. So there it is.
Yikes.
We were discussing yesterday after the flush.
Did we just go hard?
Yeah, Neuro Deep. Oh. It's 11:50, 11:45. You're a little delayed there. It's 11:45 now. 1100. What? No, that was a glitch. NeuroDegen brought up a good point. Now that we wiped out all the Moon Boys in yesterday's flush, it's probably time to start buying. I only caution, we just don't know what the fallout is going to be yet. Binance entered into a non-binding agreement here, right? Now, do they have any reason to negotiate in public by saying this? Like, who are they negotiating with?
Yeah.
They offered them $1 and they accepted. What are they negotiating? Down to 50 cents? I don't know why this would come out unless it was true. And I'm not surprised to see crypto continuing with the negative reactions. I made one great trade yesterday. I got stopped out of my second trade. I managed to escape yesterday with a profit, and I just promised myself I'm just not even going to touch it right now. Technicals do not matter in these moments. They just don't. There is no technical support or resistance. You are 100% at the behest of animal spirits who are reading headlines, and right now the order book is empty. There is nobody willing to take a big directional bet either way, which means news is going to push this shit around. Like if you're going to do anything, do not trade with leverage right now. You can't. If you're right, you're lucky. Like you're trading news flow, and it's impossible to know Binance was just going to say this, right? We didn't know Binance was, So I've been, since yesterday, I haven't touched anything yet. The only thing I tried to do is short FTT yet. I was like, FTT bounced to $6. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a 10x short on FTT and go to sleep. And KuCoin wouldn't let me open anything. I kept reducing the size. Like maybe if I go smaller, maybe KuCoin wouldn't let me open any shorts. I come in today, I'd be up 500% right now. Like, well.
Yeah. But if it had been open, would you be? Because you certainly weren't the only person that thought, let's 10x short FTT.
Would my trade have changed the whole order book? And no, I wish.
No, would yours? No, but if it wasn't just you that couldn't place.
Yeah,
it.
You're right. I get what you're saying. I gotta go. Is that BitMEX you're talking about? MEXC? Yeah. Let me know, because fuck, man, the exchange is it. And look, this is an unregulated world, right? Whatever happens here in the United States, you can bet 10 new FTX-like exchanges are probably being worked on right now in Russia and I mean, hey,
I have no idea who this is, but it was a good comment on CZ's tweet yesterday. It just said, "No chance this deal closes. Full due diligence will uncover enough skeletons to nuke the deal." And Binance knows exactly where to look because they have the same exact skeletons in their own company, same IOUs from non-existent or insolvent entities, same altcoin back deposits. I mean, it's a good point, right? They found this real quick, and now they probably have a huge team working like nonstop to try and do the diligence as fast as possible. But
I am actually fine with my account nuking to zero and me going on unemployment. What I am not fine with would be I lost my train of thought. I had a good soundbite too. I totally lost my train of thought. I'll admit it. I'm going to admit it here on the show. Taking more than my normal dose of bong hits this morning, given the current situation in financial markets. Well, ETH back up to 1175, 1180. I don't even care. Okay, I got the joke again. Let me gear it up.
Okay, just like let's start over.
I don't even care if my account goes to zero and I got to collect unemployment. Oh, I lost it again. Is this the bit now? Me forgetting? This is complete pothead behavior. I really had it. I had it. I was holding it in my hand and I lost it. Oh, but I cannot suffer the told you so's from my TradFi colleagues who left when I went over to crypto, who are dancing on our graves. I can't even open Twitter right now. I can't even open it. Oh, well.
Did you want to try the whole thing from the start without an interruption?
I don't. I guarantee if I did, I would forget it by the end of the first sentence. So we're just that. You know what I will do? Because this tends to be what I found helps. I'm gonna take a bong hit now, and I think that's gonna actually reset me back to where I was before. I think that's the only.
As the native alcoholic on this podcast, I can assure you that taking another shot does not make things better.
Could you take a shot now? Could you drink some alcohol, please?
Fuck it, let's do it.
Oh. No, if any banks on Wall Street are looking for analysts or anyone they'd like to hire, FMC@protonmail. Anyway. Yeah, I have one bottle of Chateau Neuf de Pop that I have been saving from my wedding that almost got cracked. Now, I'm not a big drinker, but boy, I should have opened it. Well. All right, let's all bet on what R2 is going to be drinking. I'm going with tequila. I know he's a tequila man, so I think he's going to come back with a shot of tequila. We will see. We will see. Oh, what a day. What a day. I thought Gainsey had a great tweet, and he was like, this feels like when you've broken up with an ex and your stomach hurts the next day, and you just have this feeling in the pit of your stomach that nothing is ever going to be the same again. That's what crypto feels like right now. Raw G, my man. I got wasabi from the Tenko. If you guys don't know the Tenko, the Ten Company, they pioneered blue sushi, which for many years was one of the hardest strains to actually get your hands on, especially if you were not in Cali. They have a few different varietals now: yellow sushi, wasabi, blue sushi, wagyu, and omakase. I forget, but yep. I got some wasabi. I actually got some biscotti from Connected, which was a gift. Yep, you know Tenko. I got some biscotti, Connected Classics. And finally, some off-label, but directly from the man himself, Moonbow 112 from the homie over at Archive Seed Bank. The cut, the 112, which there are a lot of Moonbow cuts that were actually keepers. I would say it's one of the most successful crosses of all time when you see how many phenotypes were keepers out of that batch. The Moonbow 112 is very dominant do-si-do. So it has a peanut butter gas front, but boy, you just get that hint of Skittles back, that tropical bag of Skittles flavor right in the back. Oh, combine it with the potency, the flavor, and the smell. Moonbow 112 is one of my favorite things growing right now. That's by Archive Seed Bank. You can buy their seeds nationally and internationally if you want to grow their strains. You can also buy their wares in Oregon and California, or if you have connections outside the state. I live in New York, Raw G. We actually have a great cannabis culture here. It's been underground for a very long time, but of course, as of last year, we are allowed to be out in the open as well. Yeah, I'm in New York. So I guess my saving grace is I never had access to FTX or Binance. I've always been my own custodian of my money. So, yeah. Oh, nice. You do a lot of work with Skittles? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nice, bro. Yeah, I have been a cultivator for 20 years. I don't grow too much now. And cannabis was my passion for a very long time. I started using 3-part Gen Hydro in a Rockwell back in the day. By the end, before I moved over completely to finance and Web3, I was getting all into the full till organic, no-till organic, and I was growing in very large beds. But Yeah, I mean, cannabis was always my second passion. Hell yeah, man. Let me yeah, let's link up, Raw. It's definitely still something that I love. And I'll tell you, and you know this, Raw, but like the cannabis industry loves Web3 and NFTs in a much larger percentage than your average industry. Like they love NFTs. They were always a little early to crypto. And my Instagram feed, it would always the only time I would see NFTs was when the weed homies were posted them. So I was always like, oh, the cannabis industry, they know. They're
I'm
on
back.
it. But yeah, Raw, let's DM on Twitter. We follow each other on Twitter, right?
I was gonna give you guys a choice between the tequila, a shot of tequila, or opening this nice Basil Hayden bourbon, not even opened yet.
Yep.
And drinking that. I think I'm just gonna go with this. Why not? On a little bit of ice.
Yeah.
Seems like a good day for us.
While you were off camera, I played a little game with the audience. We were gonna guess. Yeah, I see the S&P. Not
Yeah,
terrible.
you said tequila. I heard you say tequila.
Tequila. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna drink that. I don't want to do a shot of tequila.
Yeah.
We're not down that bad yet, boys.
Yeah, I'm watching the S&P right
we'll be
now.
doing tequila when ETH drops into the 3 digits.
I'm actually more concerned with oil because oil has been one of my best trades, and oil is just getting its legs ripped out right now. I did sell some of my exposure the other day. We were talking in the Discord for a while. The last couple weeks, we've been bearish. We haven't been aggressive, but we have been, reducing our positions, buying puts as protection. I had 3,900 as pretty tough resistance, and it's playing out. I've wanted to get past CPI. I know there's going to be a lot of volatility around CPI. I still in my bones believe we're in a general trend up, and whether it's after CPI Thursday or Friday or maybe sometime next week, I think we find footing. I think we rallied through Thanksgiving. I think the first week of December is going to be tough again. But
look at Solana.
12. Should I go?
Well, apparently there's a huge unlock in Solana coin today too. So
Look,
that's been, yeah.
This is, it's Sam's one of his biggest holding place. They can get money. Cheers, my friend. Yeah.
Nice.
God damn.
It's a nice glass. I feel like Kobe right now with 1/1000th of the viewers. Cool, man. Guys, you guys are the best. Honestly, I love that when we go through stuff like this, the numbers go up and we all hang out and just kind of chat and do this together. It's just good community vibes, you know. The Web3 community is pretty strong, though, as much as we're at each other's throats and shit all the time.
Yeah.
I got to give it a lot of props. It's been one of the most fun things I've done over the past year. Like, this has been just like the amount of people I've gotten to meet, interesting people from all over the world, different walks of life, different, financial statuses, some incredibly wealthy people, and then, people that are trying to build up that wealth and participate in their own meaningful way. And that's one of the reasons why, like, I as much as I believe in the technical components of crypto and why it's important for the world, there really does just feel like there's just such a strong underlying belief in not only in it, but the people that are in it. I just think it's really important, honestly. And again, depending on how long the bear market goes, certain people have to exit. Maybe it's for their own financial reasons, or maybe it's just out of boredom. But it does come back.
Yeah, and I think you and I kind of analyzed briefly a month or two ago about the possibility of a new L1 cycle, like whether two things that we've lost, right, are whatever, these hedge funds pretending to be banks that are taking deposits and gambling, you know, that is going to go away because of regulation, at least stateside for sure, or whatever. But is this idea of alternative L1, is that getting tired, right? Like, what, seriously, what are the point of these other L1s? Like, all of them come out VC backed, they moon because they promise more transactions, they're bigger blocks, you know, cheap, like blah, 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 blah. And then none of them can ever scale up. I don't think Ethereum is poorly designed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at Sol right now. I was not short Sol. This isn't a told you so. We all hated it at $250, but it was only because I was an ETH maxi and loved ETH at 4,500. So I don't get any medals there. But, you know, I thought Sol was going to go to fucking zero because it's just, what do these all Why? We have Bitcoin, which is digital gold. We have Ethereum, which are smart contracts. And then we have ZK rollups and L2s and all sorts of things being built on top of an ever-evolving protocol that may itself become fast and efficient enough that it renders these other things useless. So, you know, I'm wondering.
Yeah, we don't have this weird like secondary version of the internet that like a small group of people are bullish on. Everyone just uses the internet.
Right. I don't think any other L1 has ever had as much promise as Solana. Am I wrong in saying maybe Cardano? I'm trying to think, like, which one ever truly competed for a number 2 to Ethereum? Is Sol in that respect?
Solana was the one that was really making the strong strides towards it. But all of the development was on Ethereum. I mean, that's what kind of dictates why it's going to be successful. Is like, what was the incentive for all of this stuff that was already built on Ethereum, knowing that the merge was going to come, knowing that the transaction throughput was going to get higher, knowing that they're actively working on the gas prices or you know, the network such that the gas prices won't be nearly as expensive as they have been. Like, why would all of a sudden everyone be like, let's strip away all of the work we're going to do and then try and move our entire user base over to Solana? I mean, it just doesn't work like that, right? You know what? Honestly, in this, I'm really, if you want to go into NFTs for a second, I'm really bullish on what Valhalla is trying to build, but I'm fully cognizant, which is like a Twitch streaming alternative, fully cognizant of the fact that it is very, very, very difficult to strip away users from an already existing community and already existing platform that they've used, and all of the activity is already on Twitch and YouTube. It is very difficult to try and strip that away, and it might not work, right?
Yeah, and you know, if Solana, you know, and I don't mean fails. I actually, you know, if I had to guess, Solana has enough of like a community now that it would be like a Cardano and never go away, no matter what its market cap was. Like that type of community.
If I had to play my own devil's advocate, and it's not even remotely the same thing, but I mean, there was a point in time where like Bored Apes were the underdog of the NFT community, and you know, they literally just willed their way to the number 1 spot, right? So like, could it happen if there's enough real true fans of Solana? I guess in this kind of market condition, we're going to find out how many real fans of Solana there actually are.
Right. But to me, if we just take Solana, if we say Solana could be anything, but what it has done from going to be the most promising alternative or better, faster Ethereum to a failure, okay? If that's what it goes to, does that just kill the idea of the L1 cycle for good? This is what I'm wondering.
So we talked about this. Well, we talked about it a lot, but I mean, one of the big things that I've noticed in this cycle versus the last cycle, it was all about the next Bitcoin, the Bitcoin killer, why Bitcoin is inefficient, and this new one will be better than Bitcoin. We saw it with all of the forks, all of the different ones that were being created. In this cycle, there was no next Bitcoin. There was no next digital gold, that L1, like this is going to, we all saw the next Ethereum, the next smart contract platform, the next, higher transaction throughput, blah, 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 NFTs, yada, yada, yada. There was no like, this one's going to replace Bitcoin, because its use case is so simple and so solidified that why even bother touching it now? You're fighting such a massive uphill battle against something that for its purpose is almost perfect, right? In its simplicity.
Right.
I mean, you can argue that to the
People
end of
don't
time.
try to build more Bitcoins. Right.
But, now that the merge has gone through, now that they're, it's not a myth anymore, this like mythical thing that's on the horizon, it's always 5 years away from being 5 years. It's actually gone through. Like, will people stop attacking it next cycle? Maybe. I think so. I mean, there was, HD, DVD, and Blu-ray. Blu-ray won. It wasn't like all of a sudden people were clamoring to make the next Blu-ray protocol. Right? They won.
Yep. Yeah, so, and quite frankly, I'm not saying that like, yay, Ethereum has won, blah, blah, blah. I'm a trader. I want to make money, and I want to figure out how to approach the next cycle. And the alt L1 play, understanding how to play that dynamic, which there are some great threads on if you just search Twitter for a bit. But just understanding how to play that dynamic, it was a real part of the playbook that I was always trying to factor into the next cycle. And if Sol goes to effective zero here, goes to $3 and then just lives in a $3 to $6 range for the rest of its life, will that dissuade, at least for the next cycle, at least for the next one? People need time to forget, right? Does that mean that alt L1 is just not, look at Polygon, right? Look at Matic. That seems to me like that's the thread of what the next cycle could be about. Making a deal with Facebook, making deals with Disney. Every day, you want to talk about onboarding? Who has done more for ETH than Polygon? Ugh, I can't even say those words coming out of my mouth. Who has done more for ETH than Polygon as far as onboarding? Whether you're talking about Reddit, whether you're talking about the potential with these Web2 companies that they're doing, that type of thought process may be where the majority of juice is in the next cycle. Certainly something to ponder, my friends.
I mean, the one that I'm looking at, and I don't own any of it right now, and I never have owned any of it, but I mean, I gotta be thinking that like ApeCoin is gonna be one of those coins that are more down than the others. And there's a real nice, cheap entry point in even just from real money rather than converting my ETH, right? Like, just
what's the market cap on that thing? 1 billion right now? It's $1 billion
on Ape? Yeah, just above $1 billion.
Huh.
I see that in the next real cycle of NFTs and crypto in general as a top 10 coin.
I think $1 is where I'd get aggressive. Yeah.
Oh, I'm buying. I thought you meant that's like where it's gonna be. No, I can see it going down to $1.
Yeah,
I'm not buying it here, but believe me, if it starts to dip below $2, which again, if we start crabbing sideways in terms of Bitcoin and ETH, the altcoins are going to be the ones that continue to just kind of drop and drop and drop. Right?
I ain't worried about Bitcoin and ETH here.
No.
I'm worried alts are going minus 99.
And this is where this is the lesson that I learned in the last run, or the last bear market. Sorry, was that like, ETH and Bitcoin, like they were down 75, 80%. Sucked to see it happen. Maybe 90% at the all-time lows. They weren't down 99%. All of the other altcoins, 99%. Almost all of them.
Wow. APT, you guys remember APT, Aptos? It was a bit of a story for a few days.
It 5 minutes ago.
$4.33.
Down from?
It was hanging around $7.50.
Oh, is that? Yeah.
That's more than most. Like,
yeah, it is.
That's more than most coins out there right now. Like, wow.
There it is. Yeah, 72, 31%, 50% on the week. I mean, again, that was a pretty speculative thing
If
to begin with.
if
So
you made me go out and buy if I'm looking around right now and you made me go out and buy something, I think it would be Doge. It
see,
just
look,
looked at relative strength, and
sure.
it could actually get positive news flow within the next few weeks. Why hasn't Doge dumped to 5 cents? It's not logical.
Neo was one that I was really bullish on for a long time.
Tell me about Neo. It comes up in my purview now and again.
It was essentially supposed to be like the Chinese Ethereum. They were saying like if China is really vehemently against allowing Ethereum to just go widespread within its country, Neo would probably be the one that you want to look at. It had some development activity on it. It was, it operated a lot in the same way that ETH did in terms of like
the Titanic is just sticking its ass right in that chart. It's
but I mean, I was bullish on that for a long time, and that thing just went down and down and down. And like this at one point was a top 10 crypto. It's sitting at like 70 something more, 82, right? Yeah. Never even touched its all-time high, $200. It kind of started getting there in that run we had earlier.
That looks like a fractal, guys. You know what a fractal is, right?
No.
It's a geometric pattern that repeats, and it gets either bigger or smaller every time. Oh. That's a literal fractal we're looking at. Like, I would bet Neo does the exact same thing again, except the peak is the exact percentage difference between its last peak and this peak.
Right.
Whatever that percentage difference is, Neo will do the exact same pattern next cycle, and it will be that much smaller, but the exact same. It's a fractal. The good news...
This actually, this was the best ICO of all time at its time. Wow. It debuted as Ant shares. It rebranded to Neo. But there was a point in time where you could pick Ant shares up for a penny or less, and it went up to $200. There were people that flipped Ethereum into Ant shares at one point, bought up like literally tens or hundreds of thousands of Ant shares, again, because they were pennies, right? So, a $30,000 investment would get you like, if it was 3 cents, why am I 100? Like 3 million of these tokens, right? Mm-hmm. The shit shot up to $200.
Wow.
Like it was people made a real bag off this one.
That's nuts. I mean, you want to know the good news. If
you had bought and hold at 3 cents, you'd still be up 200x.
If you do that same type of fractal thing on Bitcoin and Ethereum, we're on the opposite. We're in the opposite end of the fractal. We're actually getting bigger. So if fractal theory holds through, we have one more giant peak gearing up.
I remember
Look, it's the exact same. Zoom in. It's the exact same fucking pattern.
So I remember in 2018, explaining to my girlfriend about crypto. I'm excited about it, where it can go, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is, Bitcoin. And I always said, like, okay, this was the peak we were in at that time. It went up, and okay, you lost a lot of money. Like, no, my entrance point was still pretty good. But I always said, this little peak at one point looked like this, right?
Yep. Logarithmic, maybe.
It was huge. And I said, in at some point, the peak that we're in now will look like that one. And I mean, we're there. It's paltry compared to the one we had in the last 2 years. What is this one going to look like the next time? It's going to look like this one.
Hold on. I got to send you. Oh, there it is. I found it. Quick.
I know at this point, we're just preaching to the choir. You guys know. Doesn't make it feel any better right now.
All right, let me send you this tweet. So the biggest crash in stock market history was in 1987. To this day, it is the biggest crash in stock market history. I just sent R2 a picture of the stock market and a red line being drawn, and the red line starts at the 1987 crash. So if you look down at the bottom of that chart, that's the 1987 crash. That is still the biggest crash of all time. Where the lines
the year I was born.
If you zoom on in and look at that thing, that is still the largest single day crash the stock market has ever seen. So
and these it's weird, like not weird, but I mean this is why a lot of people look at log scales, right?
Yeah, this is pointless.
Not logarithmic. Right. Yep.
Right.
This slope looks incredibly aggressive, but so did that slope too if you take out and put it into scale, right?
Right. Yep.
That's just compounding.
Yeah, so it flattens out, but the point, the original point is that fractals, you will see Bitcoin, the fractal.
You got one like on this? You deserve another one.
Thank you. I appreciate
just doubled
that.
your like output there.
As we all know, and this is not me complaining like it's a conspiracy, I have been shadow banned on Twitter.
I knew that would get you going.
I have been shadow banned on Twitter because I changed my content to stuff people did not want to see. Not because Twitter hates
Twitter.
Yeah.
What was it? $15,000 they were selling blue checks for?
Yep.
All of a sudden $8 doesn't seem so bad, does it?
Yeah.
There was this real misconception that blue check marks mattered on Twitter.
Yep.
Anybody that was in NFTs knows they did not. My notification page is full of blue checks shilling me stuff.
Yeah. We should all have our blue check in a few days, actually.
I don't even want it.
I prepaid for mine. Oh, I am going to, because just like you, many people will resist initially, so I will still laud it over most people for at least a few weeks and act as a king. I will enjoy it while it still feels exclusive.
You're so fancy. What does this mean an hour into the show, hour and a half into the show, hour and 40 minutes? Let's dive right in. What are we feeling about NFTs right now? We didn't even really talk about NFTs. They're just going to be put on the back burner, I think, eh?
Yeah, I don't think it's the riskiest asset within crypto, and we are about to enter another crypto liquidity crisis. I've already seen floors on NFTs fall 20% overnight because anybody who is leveraged or long into yesterday needs money in ETH now.
Right in the middle of my KPR play. Oh well.
Yeah, just as an example, Orcs, which had gotten an announcement from Digidaigaku saying that the partnership was about to go, had gotten up to 0.6. Look at him. And that is from one person who, and it's not, there's no self-shaming. I feel for anybody that feels they need liquidity right now, and you have to do what's right for you. I promote you and love you. But you can see what yesterday did. People are going to look for liquidity in NFTs, and you're going to see floors down around the board right now.
If you're liquid right now, you're going to get some real shopping opportunities.
If you believe in NFTs and you are liquid right now, it is just like picking off, everything is on crazy sale right now. Begons will be back at 0.15 within a day. People want that lick. How about Chrome Squigs? What are they at? They were up to almost 20.
13, 14.
Yeah,
what? Chrome Squigs are one that's going to get real aggressive in the undercutting if people feel they need the liquidity out of them.
Because it became a trade. There were a lot of people who started buying them for a trade because they were mooning. Yeah. And now those people are going to be dumping and looking for liquidity. We called Squigs at 5 ETH on this show. I will say that ETH was definitely $3,000 then. So in USD,
I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
No.
No, we had already gone through that dump.
Yeah, it
was sub 2,000 for sure.
I'll reiterate it now, and obviously, given what's going on, it's not the time to jump into the hottest collection of the last week because people are going to look for liquidity there. But my thing with Squigs, okay, they are the first art blocks. Not a lot of people know it was the first collection ever on art blocks. So I think when you talk about art blocks as history, it's the most history of history. So that's number one.
And they look good too.
Oh, they look great. It's one of the most recognizable NFTs. It is a meme of itself. Hey, it's just a squiggly line, right? That's a meme. Okay. It has already been put on a football jersey. All right. It has some mainstream appeal. It will be one of the first pieces in the Modern Museum of Art. I'm speculating. I don't have inside info, but this is, I'm very bullish on Squigs as one of the art blocks collections that didn't get the love it should have during the big generative art cycle. Now, it has a larger supply than Ringers or Fidenzas, which is certainly one reason it has a lower floor price. I will still say I vehemently believe these will go to 100 ETH floor as the next art blocks collection to be a grail, so to say, quote unquote. And did you know they move?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. That was a big thing, like mad people who own them didn't know that they moved, and then it was a meme.
That is true. A lot of people didn't know that they moved.
Yeah. But yeah, they move. They're fun. Like, that is such a dope piece of art to have in a digital frame. Like, that's why digital frames should exist, for this type of thing.
Didn't get my 10 KTF frame. Where's my screen? Where is it? What's going on? What are we doing?
Boy,
all right, man. I don't know about you. I think I'm ready to wrap this up. You?
I lost my voice.
Let's take a toll
from the show. Yeah.
You got to stay nice and hydrated with a glass of Basil Hayden.
Ah, yeah, that's a good idea.
It was nice. I like it.
Good.
Also, is day drinking problematic, Cambo? I didn't get to address that. Is it? I don't do it very often, in fairness.
But when you do it for us.
Yeah, that's what really is pretty much the only time I do it. Or like patio weather. Go and sit out and enjoy. Yeah, Cambo, you have a good one too, man. Folger's breakfast blend. There you go. Sorok currently day drunk. Cheers. Work drunk? Why not? What do you got going on today?
Cope. Massive amounts of cope.
Oh, cope. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some pixelating after this.
Sweet.
Kind of just a good, productive way to spend my time. Been live streaming it. Did you tune in the other day? Were you watching a little bit?
I did not manage to tune in the other day. My internet has been. I finally.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
No, it's been fun. Throw on some tunes. Just hit some pixels. You saw the Pepe thing I sent you.
No. Where'd you send it? Where did you send it
to you? You don't even pay attention to me.
I do. I looked in Discord.
Let me
look in the DM, and it was.
I'll reply to it.
It was a picture of Link.
No, here. I replied to it, so you can find it.
Ooh, how did I miss that?
Yeah, I thought you'd be excited for that.
Whoa, it looks like a Star Wars communicator.
That's what I was going for. I'm glad it does.
Oh, I am very excited. I'm going to do my excited lemon emoji. Have I told you about Little Lemon Friends? It's an NFT collection.
It's okay. Everything's down bad. It's not. Do we do a check-in?
No. All right.
Little lemon. We don't want to do it? No. Cancel. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up the show. Episode 163. It's been a fun one. There's lots going on. I'm sure, undoubtedly, that there will be more to talk about with this and other things on the show on Friday, episode 164, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Apologies for having to back out of the Monday show, too. No, completely unintentional, but internet issues kind of put a damper on things, but Free Market got it all fixed, all set up, and it's good to be back on here with you.
I was gonna do it from the phone. I was not.
We tried. We actually did. Yeah, we did.
It was just bad. It was bad, but we're back. We're back, baby.
Yeah, for sure. We really do appreciate everybody taking the time to tune in and listen. Almost 2 hours on stream and some great numbers this lovely Wednesday morning. Thank you for making me drink this early in the morning as well. Always appreciate the excuse for it. What's that?
I said we got him.
Yeah, honestly, not that difficult to talk me into it if we're just being real here. But yeah, Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, we'll be back on. We'll see if the Binance deal of acquiring FTX is more or less likely to go through at that point. Not seeming great right now, but who knows? A lot can change in an hour, let alone 2 days. So we will be back on, do it again. Do us a favor, if you don't mind, hit the like button if you haven't. It's always appreciated. Helps us out a little bit, even a little bit. It's what we do for you guys, though. Free Market, say the words.
I don't think I'm going to do the regular sign-off today, but I will say that I love you guys, and we're going to trade our way out of this. Don't worry.
We're going to trade our way out of this.
I'll see you guys on Monday.